We've been offline for a couple of weeks. Happy to say we're fired up again tonight. Just getting our stream going. And we're going to continue on with the story that we were working on a couple of weeks ago. The story was recorded with Wes Fineday last fall, How Sweetgrass Became Chief. This is one of the first of a whole collection of stories that we recorded. And we're just sitting down with Wes and going through and getting the interpretation of this. All right, let me share this. I usually just share the live stream on Facebook as we get going here. So yeah, Pete the Gway, we're just getting fired up. And usually the way I like to do this is, what we'll do is we'll go back a little bit in the story. By the way, feel free to drop a comment on if we're streaming live on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Drop me a comment if you're on the live just to let me know everything's sounding okay, or if there's any issues, let me know as well. And usually what we like to do is go back. Let me have a look here. We are about 41 minutes into this story with the interpretation. So we've got Wes with us tonight again. He's just fetching a cup of tea here. And we'll be back shortly, but we'll back up maybe, let's see, we're at about 41 and a half minutes. So we'll go back a few minutes into the story just to kind of get back into, a little bit here. So let's see, we'll say about, we're just at the spot. If you're just tuning in, the story's about how Sweetgrass became chief, and he tells the story about how he went after a party of scouts, the Cree scouts. He was only about 16, I think, and the raiding party went out and left in the middle of the night, and the boys would go to their lodge frequently to see if they could figure out when they were going to leave, and so he showed up. And they had left already, and so he spent several days wandering about trying to catch up with this raiding party, and came upon a Blackfoot camp, and took down the one that was keeping the horses, and scooped up the horses and ran them back home. And so we'll pick up right about there when he gets back to the camp. And up to this point, he had been raised by the Nehiawak, but he was from the Kakakuwatiwinuak, the Raven Hills people, I think. That's how that goes. So he didn't have a name up to this point, which is an interesting part of the story. So we'll go back. Let's see. We'll go back a few minutes here. There was feasting and smoking. Let's start there. So right now he's being called upon to retell the story of how we got to this point. So we'll pick up there. Give us about 4 minutes to listen to, and then it sounds like Wes is back here. So we'll get caught up on this, and then we'll start picking up on the story. Hey Wes, Kipito Insi.
Yes.
Aha, if I play this, let me know if this audio is coming through for you.
Yes.
Okay, well just listen, I'm just going back a few minutes in the story just to kind of get back into where we're at, and then I'll let you know where we pick up here.
Astam. Peatse mustaunaan tateegi tohtein. Tan segi mai si tsegein. Aatsimustawik kitaisiinim nawak. Yakskeitakik. Se san megi wa pahti hatan ma moskusi ja me gua timotoma. Kaginto pihko hato he. Misatemo kagin pahatan he. Kapm gano ehtigeit. Ego kegi piai mit. Emana peaste sihkapu. Nantau saate mi chome egisi mamikusaate tahkoma. Se sana egisi mut anma tante hegi ei tohte tansegi ei tahkamkset go ma maskusi ewa pahti hatin tonekta mi hohe agomoik ukta homa ogas teoja se kas teoja se tegi pahko mogomi hoen egisin pahak ei töötes Yksan mietigi saatsemotan he. Kagi tee pootiko toki maa. Astam. Mahti neko pahteinan he kata hunaman. Yksee se taapuikin toumiaatan toki maa. Eikohan ouke maoissa. Ei kanoa pahtahkan. Kapiks kaatatan he kaiku ui hunt kaap maite kuusiit. Mutta ne he mami tsehi ahkoma kanta uita kamksiin. Mini ko kaapi misegi ue tsekein. Mistahan meitagi teko eukaan anma. Kuja mihtse tai siinuuki kauan uuten keto miite kagi tohte inoma. Eikua. Anoht uutta huhtse oskiniku. Ei kaiku ui hunt kaiti kuusien manna. Namu ja kiihtoam. Uihkaatsau ja kekse. Kai sihkaatik. Anoht kiva pahtehenan. Ei kispinä tamasoin uihuen. Indoneso rahkeema mahtawa. Uihkas kohuhikaa peiki uehtain. Ano suuta hohtse. Uihkas kokiseen kikaitti kuusen. Joka nanma. Ekta hei kispinä tahka uihun. Uihkas kokseen joka maana kaitaa ja komakajaa tsemaa ja. Ohmeegi ohtohta hehtavaases.
That's where we pick up tonight. I had one question for you about that name. We saying we would say, like, we interpret that as sweetgrass, but is there that word geseenu would be in there, wouldn't it? Like, that sounds to me like old man sweetgrass or something like that.
And that's because of the interdimensionality that we exist in. You see, we have a spiritual component. And it is that spiritual component that is rooted in the power, where power resides, that gives that name the potential to empower anyone who becomes a bearer of that name. Otherwise, it could be just, it could refer simply to a piece of grass.
Yeah.
And nothing else. If you didn't know about the emotionality, the spirituality, and how it's all dispersed by the wind. You didn't, Yeah. It's about reclamation, recycling, rejuvenation.
Yeah.
That name just implies so many different levels of empowerment. Kisein is a direct reference to the ancient spirit that inhabits that name and that plant and that man now and that community. It is the spirit that's referenced there. That's why Kisein, the ancient component of that plant, which is the spirit.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's super interesting. Where do we so this last frame was ego ananma ego ta igispatna gispinata ko mawihuan wika skokasen wika skokasen ego mana ga itaya koma ga timaya. And then the next one.
From another place he was brought as a child. But he grew in standing within the Cree community. But as he grew in standing,
I was wondering about that word. I had that one. Egitsagapawit.
Stands in honor.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Gitsagapawit. Yeah.
And before you arrive there, your journey towards that place. Yeah, egiate, going towards that place.
Yeah.
Because of these things which he had done. Or because of what he had done.
What he had done.
Yeah.
So in that context, the Sitsige one can just be a doing, like an activity, and not necessarily
or an event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually hear that word in the context of like a ceremony or something, but it can be used more broadly. I'm assuming. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mina kai adea tan so many guy.
Well, it's just I think I know what you're saying there.
Tapskuti go ke gise mi ono te gise e gitskwe kapot.
And he was standing in a place of great positivity.
I'm going to put those two together. Let me do this. We'll get rid of that one. And we'll come back to this one.
Tapskuti go ke gise mi ono te gise e gitskwe kapot.
It is square.
Facing. Standing there facing. Mionok, a good place.
Tapskutigo mionokite kesi te sque gapoit. How did you say that again?
That he stood there facing. It's sque gapawe. Ote hit sque gapawe. Stand there facing that way.
Yeah. Facing in a good way or in a good direction, or
that's not your call.
Oh, just what I'm interpreting the what you said here.
Yeah, to face in a certain direction.
Okay.
Whether it's positive or negative is not part of the equation at the moment. It's a superficial directional stance that your body is engaged in.
Yeah. But you say that a lot. Would that be like in a good way?
In a positive way, yeah.
Okay.
Osame sa hewa panigan may gisinimi to ehtoma.
Because after the dancing had been done and it was morning, it was coming morning, tiwapa.
Kagi natatan him satima kagi peki ehtahat.
That he went and retrieved those horses that he had brought back.
Niso esaki miewan he no kom kagi tatman.
Two who he gave to that woman he used to refer to as his grandmother.
Kika apache hait ka pichu to magika pap mohta tektahan no to go na.
For her use when they were moving camp so that that old woman could haul her belongings.
Pitsuit, ga pitsuit when they move camp.
Yeah, as they were moving, as camp was being moved.
As camp. Okay.
O miko wa minaga kyo higi ko kagi pitchik man.
Her teepee and all of these other things that they used to travel about with.
Ego hekta kiot nama sona peste mahikas kitesit.
And from there he chose for himself a stallion which was black.
Egim sigiti to hagi ko state ko so namsati.
It was a big horse and people feared it.
Ego mi nam to negi kinoans ko tegi kinoi we tegi mi o se tegi sohkiset.
It had very long hair on its mane and on its tail, and it was very strong.
Maganda mo nga o yagi o tsakaskita ta po chikay to te tanim sa temo hayaksan.
But no one was ever able to get near to that horse, and so.
Ton mana hegi ai kate mako hata isino han kas tewas timna pistiman.
That black horse would chase away people if they tried to come near.
Black horse would fix my typing while I go here, and I noticed. Yeah.
Eguana na pogo.
That was the only one.
Yeah.
Eguana na pogo.
That was the only one. Well, there's more to that. It's just a short piece.
We has cook saying gagi te uga egune pogo mana nam satim. Egit paktinat.
Wheatgrass. That was the only person that that horse would allow.
Kikapeuten gut kikape samen gut kikape uiapte kotom.
To come and touch him and put a rope on him. Uiapitegut.
Uiapitegut.
Yeah, uiapitigan is something you use to tie,
Interesting.
You know, they would just put a rope in that horse's mouth and tie it under his chin. Uiapitat.
Uiapitat. Huh?
And also to mount him.
Kutakahi sino hek segi makse bana so squaji no gete we no hato.
Any other person he would attack, he would charge and try to attack.
Kiko state goso.
He was feared. He was feared. Kiko state goso. Yes.
Ego.
And all around that place where there was a camp,
Msatemo. Ki papa ma pegeneo.
And horses, he would lead that one about.
Kipapama paganeo.
Yeah, leading a horse with a rope, eh? Whoops.
Msatemo.
Ah, leading a horse with a rope. I'll just mark that one. Okay. Good one.
Mutugo. E kai wai tau ya ki ka pami hoit ki ka wichi hoit.
Old women who had no one to provide for them or to help them.
Yeah.
E ko ni msatemo hei ginto miat.
Those are the ones that he went and gave a horse to.
Ke te ia. E kai o skaya he ya wait ki ka wichi hoit.
Elders who had no younger ones to help them.
E ko ni mine ginto me ginasot msatemo.
These two were the recipients of his gift of a horse.
E ko ki spina no so maka mam to nehta ma.
And if we were to consider this today,
Kaya asma na ki spina o yaki ko e ki spina tas.
in the old days, if anyone had earned anything,
E ko he ki pe wiche heske ki pe miski koi.
and if he were to approach you and make an offering of a gift to you,
Tan se mane ki taki te gugo.
what was the value in that?
Just going to check that again. I think
Tan se mane ki taki te.
yeah, that's just missing one little piece there.
Iki itagi tek.
Yeah.
Ki spina o yeke ksi se isi mami o askawi to taut.
If anyone were to approach me in that positive way,
Pugai waki ka koe ata me hagnista.
I would be bound to try and return even more than what he was giving me.
Ai
Honor
waki ka
bound,
koe
you
mi
could
yak.
say.
Oh, honor bound. Okay.
Pugai
Yeah.
waki.
Honor bound. Wow.
Ai waki ka koe mi yaki koe.
I would have to attempt to give him even more.
Igo ke ispih te hita ko ni kan magapi mi.
Then what was the value of the gift that he had given me?
Was
And that's one of the precepts of making us a win, ceremonial gifting.
Meganasowin.
Yeah. See, you never try to shortchange a person in a gift. You always want to make it at least equal or of greater value to that person.
Wow.
Spiritual economic base foundation.
Maaga, we saying.
But this one, sweetgrass,
Mä ton suos mä meitsi kitti maksa hohikagi papa miatki koe.
he absolutely chose the poorest of the poor for whom to make these gifts. To whom to make these gifts.
Ah, I see.
Kaks skehtaa no moi, apoi no moi, katskau kagi tapas taitoma.
For it was known that they would never be able to even match the value of the gift.
Kap nisima miatoma.
As he was giving them.
Osa he no moi o kau te mam toneta.
For it was not that which was the focus or the intent. Focus and intent.
Yeah, focus and intent.
Uia ki koe kau, ki kape mahmi e. Maaga o te hegi pntsaha.
Expecting to be given any gifts in return, but he was simply following the dictates of his heart.
Wow.
Mia watsoen, ki te maagehtoen, siitoskatoen. Ugo simton kagi
Kindness, support. What was that?
Miwatsuin.
Good-heartedness, kindness, and support.
Ugo simton kagi mamteme kagi mamteme mato haya.
And that was the reason that he was so focused on these ones.
Mamteme.
I see. Let me do this.
Mia wats.
I've got this kind of cut in half, and that was the reason. It'll go to mitune and then the next one.
Mamteme.
So mitsumeema gap mitsumeema that he was so focused in the sense of choosing them. Would you say it that way?
Yeah, that he was focused on the poorest of the poor, and in that way making a political, spiritual statement that this is not for my personal gain. You see, this is an economic move at an even deeper level, because what it did was it demonstrated his faith in Creator. If he was willing away to give his very best to the most poor in their society and could not expect anything back, either he's a fool or he has an incredible deal of faith in Creator to return what he has given away, and perhaps even more. You see.
Nikki says, Sweetgrass was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
The next frame says,
the impoverished, those were specifically the ones that he helped.
Specifically the ones that Egonigachats.
Ego he skehtaawak no moi katskau kihtam kagita pastamago me siwichi tasot.
For it was known that they could never hope to replace that which he was also helping them with.
That which he was also helping them with?
Yeah. The gifts he was giving them, they could never return anything in equal value to the gifts that he was giving them, is the intent of that statement.
Okay.
O mio te me tonei ki wā pahte hātai sino.
He demonstrated the goodness of heart to the people.
E ki te māgei magek ntai sini magei sāge hakik.
I feel compassion for my people and I love them.
E ko neko ki ka mā moa si ki te māks si ke ui te hakik.
These who are the most impoverished are the ones that I am going to help.
Na moi o ki ka mi oi a tik.
Not these well-off ones.
O sam kau ka koe mi kwa koma.
Because they would attempt to give me.
Ka koe tā pastawa koma ka mi si ui te hakik ni. Na moi o ka mam to nehtama.
To at least equal that which I was giving them, but that is not the focus of my thoughts. You got?
Kegats, yeah. It's an interesting word. Tapastawak, like to
replace.
To replace
would be the one translation. To remove something and then to replace it. Or replace it with something of equal. But in a spiritual economic base, it was always you replaced it with something of equal or greater value. Where in a contemporary economic system, we replace it with what we borrowed plus interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. For I feel compassion for these ones. Who have no one to help them, support them.
Yeah.
To provide help for the times when they were on the move. He demonstrated to the people. The degree and depth of his compassion, even though he was just a young man. It was greatly respected. And that is one of the things that if a person demonstrates, to the people that this is his nature. That was considered to be of great value. And many people spoke of this.
Ah.
Kita sihtamak. Kita sihtamak. Kita sihtamak. They spoke of this.
Okay. Yeah, tasita.
Or you could say taught about it.
Ha.
Hauine kwa kiu gimaha kanto mota ka mamam skuta mot.
Or who would be chief in these discussions that we are having?
Ektahmana Egypten tipai Egypten tastau ehtoihon.
And it was at times like this that his name would be mentioned.
Ha.
Osamo te okse watsoit.
Because of his compassion.
Osohehtamoin.
His faith.
Minä kagip maiseva pahtihat maa mohtauja.
And as he continually demonstrated to our kind and loving Creator,
Eipn tapua keima tiikohkoma.
the degree of his faith
Tunni mustikitti maksaa kagipn.
Let me play the next.
when the most impoverished ones were the
Kagipn naniganahat kagip mo
were the ones that he placed first and tried to elevate their earth life experience with them.
And tried to elevate their earth life experience for them?
Yes, with these gifts he was giving. And yeah.
Nigani hat, he put them in in front.
Yeah, Enigana hat, those he placed at the forefront.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ohpenamuat, he elevated them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mutta skiupimatsunoa.
Yeah.
Their earth life experience.
Wow.
Eksana piesk.
And so it was that finally he ended up becoming the chief.
Kiwi chiheo. Uki chihta aho ki taunamo awetaka.
And he was also a member of the Warrior Society. He had standing in that circle. He had a seat there. And there too he demonstrated many times on raiding trips. In situations such as those, he also led. As an example, my great-grandfather used to tell of a story of one time when they were on a raid. They were surprised by the Blackfeet. As they were running away, they saw a small hill with a bush on the top.
Ah, I see.
Ekte se gita mo chikoge.
There it was they fled to.
Ta ko chis patnasi.
On the top of that hill.
Ego ho he kaste oya se ta ka pe no so te ko chege se mto negi wa saga mi skamitan masaga weta.
And these Blackfoot that were chasing them came and encircled that bush they were in, surrounded that bush they were in.
Mm.
Ka so chegom.
Where they were hiding.
Ekte se gi wa wa tihkechik.
And there they dug little pits.
Ah, that's that word. Ewatigit.
Watike.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
dig.
Ita ho ma commute psinchik.
A place they could comfortably fit in.
Ega gi ka tawa ko chegoma.
Not to be hit.
Pask so go ta.
If they were
Oh, hey.
being shot at.
If they were being shot at?
Yeah.
Kanto monis kawachik.
Of these ones that they had gone to challenge.
Ekta mana.
And there?
Yes, and it was there then.
Kimi ga ni o wikachkoksin.
That sweetgrass used to lead.
Kayas mana. Etaps kame.
In the old days, they were worn.
Oh, Dapscum. Oh.
Wayan. Egiusi tat omi te nto payu ikioma.
That you could wear on your raiding journey.
Ah, into payuikyo. When you made a raid, basically.
Yes, that you would wear that as would be a warrior shield costume. You know, cloak basically that you would wear around you. It taps over your shoulders and around your neck. And sweetgrasses had feathers and drawings and things like that. The one that he wore, went down to just below his buttocks.
Ewanan maman egip mamsitota. Egip mkagagi simotota.
And that was what he was accustomed to rely on, and he would pray with it or to it.
Kika kanawim kot. Inekta maski kini inekta na tohki gway.
For protection and the medicines and other things. Na tohki gway. Variety of things.
Egi kikatstatoma. Kano simona.
That he included in that shield.
Ah, a gig stat.
a kikastat
Ha.
included with.
Igual pia guau suomeksi suomakaise
And at
kagise
one time, at an event that was occurring,
tasoihutsikni kaitoan.
when they were trapped.
Ah, when they were trapped. Taso e gagi isi taso higotsik.
Yeah.
Ai siinä vahuhi kantau nto paitseki tehoma.
These people that they had gone on a raiding journey to.
Hektahessa sone saahan tahuia oigi pia koka pautawa.
And it was there on the side of that hill that this one stood alone.
Sisune Tzak, is that how you say that?
Yeah, at the edge of the hill.
Ha.
Yeah, at the edge of the hill, standing at the edge of the hill.
Interesting.
Uikas koksein. Kutakakan geegi kahkasuutsik.
Wheatgrass, and these other ones were hidden.
Pakahkamminek tahkagi viitse hoi taupiesi oasa sekspi.
I think that was also the journey that Thunderchild was also involved in.
Ja, joku pakahkamana kagi tatoma.
And that was the one that said,
Ekta ikatska peegi se geegi nii potman, kik paskiganan.
after he had stood on the edge of that hillside for almost a day with his gun.
Kagi tahkona. Kauapa matkask teoessa taheksi itas namoatman.
And any time he caught sight of a Blackfoot, he would fire at them.
Minä uiste paskisugut.
And they too were firing at him.
Hitahtoessa kagi tato he viitsike maawahuhe.
At one time, he turned around and said to his fellow chiefs,
Joku nakai tehtämään piisi oasas mä nakagi sihkaa tehtä.
I think it was Thunderchild.
Eiku neheessä kagi tat. Ahau.
That he turned and said to, okay,
Me tonin tat nesto kaapa voi no muuta voi itte mai.
I'm getting tired of standing out here.
I'm just fixing that one. Waiwitemaik. We're having trouble finding that word, but waiwitemaik on the outside. Yeah. which is a little bit different than Waiwitamik, right?
Yeah, well, it's outside of the place where they were hiding. He had to stand on the edge of the hill, not with the people that were hiding in the bush, to draw the fire of these Blackfeet so they could keep track of them. And that required a person with very powerful spirit helpers. In the event that you were hit, that whatever was hitting you didn't kill you, or the spirit helpers you had would stop it.
Mahtego pe miskutista mauen kieptama.
Come and change over for me.
That'd be like change places?
Yeah. Come and change places with me.
Yeah, come and change places.
Mahtego pe
Come and change places.
hatiogiuta pe kanoihtsige.
Come and stand here for a little while. Achio.
Hachionigan toa stationinnia.
I will go and have a rest, a little rest.
Eksat sata poyane huia gimiskutiga po istamaatan.
And so it happened. They traded places.
Magapamo eskapu. Eksan magagituta kektahesa.
But before they could do this,
Oh, I see.
Magapamo eskapu.
I had that wrong. Pamoiska po. Listen to that
before
one.
they could even do this,
Oskiniku. Ekoats.
a young man on his first raid
Tonegi nene gamsete sano oskiniku.
overeager.
Eager. Enene gamsit.
Overeager.
Overly eager. Interesting.
Tonegi ne.
Yeah, let me just mark that one. Overly eager.
Nia ektahan tauni po negi toete samtune pe oipa pe pasigupa ta tektahan me ni po te machipa pas soto hegas te oaset.
And he jumped up and said, I'll go and take a turn out there for a while.
That last little bit. Here, I think there's a little bit at the end. I'll play it again.
Nia ektahan tauni po negi toete samtune pe oipa pe pasigupa ta tektahan me ni po te machipa pas soto hegas te oaset.
I will go out there and stand there, he said, jumping up and running over, getting ready to shoot at these Blackfeet.
Okay.
Se maage se gimsot. Se maage kutakin paha.
He was immediately shot and killed.
Namo e o pawamit.
He had no spirit helpers. Nothing to shield him.
Ah, that's interesting. Kigaganoim gut, which I would have normally said like to keep him, but I guess yeah, that makes sense in this context. Ganawaim gut, ganawaim like to watch over, to keep someone.
Yeah, in a spiritual context.
Hekta he saa ne vahku taka nokema kagipe nipaut.
And it was then that the other chief came and stood there.
Oye kohmiskots. Ika noihtsige toma.
He was taking his turn as the sentry.
Yeah.
Magana pis kipi kohoa kipe ka kiwewak.
But they finally got free and came home.
Heki achima chik manane.
They used to tell stories of that.
Kagina ne gamsi digo kuskinigo.
How overeager that young man was.
Ei wahna moeksi kagisi waskawito tahkigoi.
And that was not the manner in which he should have approached these things.
Skinigo. Pitamagi kakkoe sa ponsto tahgoma.
He should have tried to thoroughly understand these things before.
Tansoma ispihtehtaa konigoma.
What is the value of this?
Oh, I have to do my puzzle. Chisqua.
What time is it anyway?
Oh, it's about a teipagupta paiga neguta. It's about 6 here though. Yeah, every once in a while, I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to it, but TikTok pops up this little puzzle and just to make sure that we're still paying attention, I guess. Or else they shut us off. Yeah. What is the value of this?
Itahkap muitihuet.
Of this that he was involved with. Itahkapi muitihewet.
Mina tansi kikap maisi waskawitota peahtik.
And how should he act upon it? Carefully.
Magi sanagi pegio ke tehuhtsi.
They came home from there.
Mina kipe waino chigewak.
And they returned home with things.
Interesting.
Stamanta kagi peakot ntun kagi pemsigiwehtahat.
Like in the beginning when he went by himself and he bought back this great amount of things.
Misatema iega kagi wapa tihuetokse watson tono.
Many horses and how he demonstrated his generosity.
Tono hika kehtikite maksaho he kagi matuna moatohe.
Giving to the most unfortunate and poorest, to whom he passed around these things.
Yeah.
Kagi piho tato makanto payuet.
That he had earned when they were on their raid.
Yksaan ma tapto. Egi waa pahtihaata isinoa.
And he usually demonstrated to the people
Ei sikihtiimaat, ei sikittimaakiimaat.
the degree of respect and compassion that he had for them.
Eikö hei sikatskihtaat kiikoikispin kautten git.
And if he was able, if he acquired anything,
Apuhn nuuten tuon ehkoma. Kagi peako kaapaut.
even during battle when he stood alone,
Mutta naana mistä heukaa naan megi tagihtek.
that was of great value.
Okima nahte keisi. Kikap maisina tiusta.
In the journey towards leadership that he was approaching.
Tapskutsu himsatema kaapeki wehtahat.
Like these horses that he had brought home.
Mistä heikta heikiuhten keitsikokka keoisinoak.
Many people benefited from that.
Pämi huonek tekeisi.
Towards their lifestyle, improving their lifestyle, or elevating their lifestyles.
Minä kanto pai vehtooma.
And on these raiding journeys,
Eiku tehmaana minä. Nyt on kaagi sohkeita, kaagi sohkeimot.
it was also there that he demonstrated his bravery and his faith.
Eppä siitä tawa tohe. Opawaama.
That he would call on and depend upon his dream spirit helpers. Hawakana.
Ohe. Ata johkana heksi sigi kaagi kaktemaagiimkut.
The dream helpers and the spirit helpers. The ones that pitied him.
Iska puhpuko.
Aiska puhpuko.
Yeah.
Or it was, you could say, depending on the context.
Well, let's grab the next one and see where that goes.
Piego he kaagi opawaamet.
Oh, for it was one of these that he had as a helper.
Sakimeo.
The mosquito.
Kittemaagiimkut. Egi uitsiikut.
Who felt compassion for him and helped him.
Eiku semana tahtoa skioma. Egin toa petnanto.
And every year he would go and sit in some place.
Ekte he keitsikuna homa. Otaiwens. Ema
He
mosta.
would remove his clothes.
A musta pit, is that like, and he would sit naked?
Yeah. And sit on the ground. Sit down on the ground and sit naked.
Ahau sakimeo. Ntago tan.
Come, mosquito, I have arrived.
He pena naskota maankin sohksonua oki ma mahtau sonua omi kohma nakapun kakti maagina ujek.
I have come to pray for your strength and your blessings that you bless me with or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your compassion.
Your spiritual power, your compassion and spiritual powers, you could say, that he's blessed with.
Aha, pemitsok. Pemitsok.
Come and eat. Come and eat. And so the mosquitoes would come and eat.
I bet they would.
But it was there that he derived much of his power, strength. And that was not the only spirit helper he had. For others, powerful ones. These are powerful stories I am sharing with you.
Got a big smile on my face right now. I love the sweetgrass story. I love, but there's these stories at the end that are just awesome.
Speak I seen you. Always na peo. Egi na pehkasot.
For it was at that time that people, especially men, demonstrated courage. And how are we to understand this today? Na pehkasa, when literally translates into stepping into the role of manhood. But in the old days, it was translated as embodying courage, among other things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Napehkasuin, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Napehkasus. That's the name of a man from here. Yeah, I was telling my brother-in-law that I guess he didn't hear what I said, and he turned and looked at me. And he said, Nisto, awi na maga, wanapeokukus.
Napehkukus.
Yes. He was not selfish. He was not stingy.
He was not selfish and not stingy?
Yeah, thinking only of himself. That was not he was not selfish. And he was not stingy. There was nothing to fear, but He demonstrated his faith and belief.
Na mui pu tapua ke tamoin ka kiwa pahti hat mamo tau imao.
It was not only faith that he showed the Creator.
Magu waskoi ne ke ginugu tatoma.
He also demonstrated in his actions, activities.
Behavior?
Yes. In his activities. He not only talked to Creator about his faith, but he demonstrated it through his lifestyle.
Okay.
Tan siis tapua ke ta konsto tamoin e gipntsa.
What he understood, or what he had faith in, and how he followed his understanding of his faith.
E gomsta he e ki tehtawa. Tapua e ne kiskawa tawanapeu.
This was held in great honor, a man who was imbued with the truth.
Hawi nai wa kota kagino teu toki mamia kom.
Who, other than one such as this, would we want for a leader?
Yksi se ei tatse tei sokseto ai sino.
For this is the way he is, and these are his strengths, this person.
Yksan matapoi kagia tais paikoma.
And this is how it became. This is what transpired.
Mina tapskutoma nutun tunne mina.
And also like this warriorship.
Itahkagi pemsigi wetu na wetu ma igo.
Where he had brought many goods and given away.
Egi pemsewi hata isino.
Assisted many people. He assisted many people with that.
Ego mina kauta mahot.
And when he was counted coup upon,
Had to think about how to spell coup for a minute there.
Ona pe gasoino. Ego minam tone giagite egim stagite.
this warrior behavior, and this had great value. I think Max is going to fly off. I'm going to go and say goodbye.
Yeah.
And perhaps have a little smoke, and then I'll come back.
Yeah, sure. Yep. We'll just hang out and reflect on what we're listening to today.
Tapoy.
Yeah. That's a great time to mention.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. I will just mute. No, it's probably fine. I was going to say, I don't know if he taken his phone with him. If you have any questions for Wes that you'd like to ask or anything else, let me know. Or if you have any questions about the story, any words or anything we've come across that you want to talk about, we will be, and it's probably a good time to mention if you're just tuning in as well. that these stories are available on YouTube. What's it called? Oh, yes. Let me just mute Wes there real quick. There we go. And then, okay, yes, so I can still hear him, but you can't. Okay. In case they have any secret conversations in the background, we won't broadcast them all over the internet. So you can go either on TikTok or from Facebook. You can go through and click through. There's a link in my bio on both. These stories are available under the YouTube channel, Sweetgrass Stories, A 21st Century Perspective. And we just started uploading the second week of recording. We actually have a 4 weeks worth of recordings from this project, and I'm just starting to work through the second week right now. We will have them all available on YouTube on this channel. There's about there's quite a bit up there anyway, 20 some stories so far, including there's a bit of a prayer up there, and then this story we're working on right now is one of the first ones, How Sweetgrass Became Chief. And so, yeah, there's quite a bit up there. If you haven't run into that already, it's worth going to check out. Really great. Nikki asked, did his grandfather know Chief Sweetgrass? Fineday? I will ask. Do you mean Fineday or do you mean his grandfather? Because his grandpa was named Sam, I think, and Fineday was his great-grandpa. But I can ask. Neil says, awesome work, just listening while I drive. Arden is here. Dance Arden. Oh, ask him where he heard the story from. Yeah, I definitely will. I'm guessing it would be his grandpa, because he mentioned that. He mentioned that a few times, or he even mentions that in the stories that his grandpa would tell these stories. Yeah. It's Aquasquale. Truly appreciate this valuable work you're doing with Wes. Stop way. Yeah, I'm really grateful for just the opportunity to not only work on these stories, but sit with Wes and talk about. And we usually have a call once a week or so, usually sometimes before the live stream or midweek or something like that. And there's more stories coming. Actually, Wes is working with a couple other people, but he has some equipment in the house. And there's lots of other stories coming, he tells me. So, and we've got to, we're planning on, I think we've got 3 more visits we're going to do. So with luck, fingers crossed, we'll have about 7 weeks-ish of visits in total. So there'll be more stories to come. So keep me busy uploading to YouTube for the next little while. Yeah, like a walking library. And what's interesting is he's working with another young person right now, and they're going through old photographs and old stories and writings and digitizing various collections that he's had over the years and getting into some of that stuff. And it's bringing up more stories and more material. So there's lots of work to be done. And what an amazing opportunity. Be a good time to shout out to Arden Oak, who's with us this evening as well. Thanks for putting in the words that got us the opportunity to do this work. That's pretty fantastic. It's been a pretty wild ride. I was saying to my wife last night, I went down to a camp at we went down to Elk Water, I think it's called, which is down in the Cypress Hills for a Michif camp last weekend. And anyway, on the drive down, I was driving with a friend who was one of the coordinators for the Siller gathering this year, but also works with the M&A. And she asked me, how did you meet Wes Fineday? And I said, well, since we have 7 hours, I'll tell you the story. Because it's at least an hour in the telling. There are so many pieces. there are so many pieces that sort of conspired to get us all into this place. And it's quite remarkable to think how we are in this place today working on these things. And I was saying, oh, excuse me. I was saying, I think I'd been working with, I was sitting out at Wes's last summer, maybe in, well, it had to have either been August or October. I can't remember which one. And I was sitting at the table and I looked over at Wes and I said, you know what? I said, actually, the first time that we met wasn't in Winnipeg. We actually met at the Sundance here at Sweetgrass. And I remembered we got invited. We were out at a Sundance at Ochi's. And at Sunchild, and they said, oh, there's another Sundance next weekend at Sweetgrass. We're all headed up that way, so we got invited and we went up there. And I remember standing in the lodge, and there was a bunch of old guys sitting there on the ground laughing and telling stories and stuff. And the only reason I remembered was because of his smile. I just remember that smile. It's like, I met you before. We met at that Sundance lodge. Yeah. So this was a multi-year. There was multiple avenues of conspiracies happening to get us all into this place. So pretty amazing stuff. And yeah, what an opportunity. So also, if you are a language learner, we meet on Mondays. So what we're doing tonight is we're having Wes work through the stories that we finished transcribing. So as we listen to the stories and we write down the Cree the way we're hearing it, and then the ones that we're finished going through, we're working through those with Wes to get he's given us the story in Nahiwiwin, so he's giving us the interpretation or his own translation of the story in English as well, which is an amazing gift. Because there's some parts in this story where I was really curious. Again, we've worked on these a few times, so like I'll look at something and think, well, I think I know what that means. I know all those words, but when you put them all together, what does it actually mean? So it's really interesting to get the interpretation in English as well, because that helps inform my brain in terms of the phrasing. And there were a few pieces where it's like, oh, that's why it is in that spot. That's how it transforms the meaning. Some of that stuff that's really tricky to pick up sometimes. So that's been pretty amazing tonight to go through. But if you're a learner and you're not connected with us already, we do Monday nights we get together and we work on these stories as a group of learners, and we go through and we work on the transcription, not the translation, but the Cree part. Go and figure out all those words. Arden says Sweetgrass died in 1877 and Fineday was born around 1856, she's saying. Yeah. Craig has a question. I'm just trying to scan that word to say if you're trolling me, I'm going to say some funny Cree word out loud on my live stream. I don't recognize the word at all. Yeah, let's see if we can find something. Tisqua. Let me turn your, there you go. Now we're both, oh yeah, that's what I wondered. Yeah, I wondered. Some Cree troll. We get those ones every once in a while. It's like, what's this word mean? And it's just a real rank word. I had a sense. That's a tobacco question, Craig. Message Neil. Maybe he can fill you in on that one. Yeah, we were just talking about. So one of the questions was from a friend. Nikki was asking Wes, where would you hear these stories from your grandfather usually, or where would you hear these stories lots of times?
Oh, it would be from old people that would come and visit my father, who was a band historian. But I mean, a lot of the stories would come down the line from Strike Him on the Back to Achenam, and that was Alphonse's grandfather, because his mother was Nancy, who was Achenam's daughter. So, I mean, a lot of these stories, and especially the ones relevant to the syllabics and calling Badger, were handed down through the family like that. But there was also the warrior stories of Fineday and Lone Singer. These old people used to come and visit my grandfather, and we would sit around and listen. So that's mostly how we got.
Yeah. And so your father was Alphonse and your grandpa was Sam.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was Sam was my mother's father.
Ah.
You see, and Alphonse's mother was Nancy Achenam, whose father was Achenam, or Harry Achenam, who was the son of Strike Him on the Back.
Ah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Amazing. Let me see if there were a few comments here when you walked away. I said, if you have any comments or questions for Wes. So lots of people just really grateful for the stories and the opportunity to sit down and listen to some of this. You've been called a library at least once or twice. And then one of the questions was if Fineday would have known Sweetgrass. And so Arden chimed in that Sweetgrass died in 1877, she thought, and Fineday was born in about the 1850s, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Between 1846 and 1856, somewhere in that area. Because Colin Badger died in 1843. And Fineday used to say that Colin Badger had died a few years before he was born. But at that time, Sweetgrass was already chief, and so he knew Sweetgrass.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we've got maybe 15, 20 minutes left here on the live tonight. So if you're up for it, let's do a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Or if you had counted coup on anyone and you allowed them to live and escape.
Pagitinat kigawaianogiwit.
You allowed them to go back home. That was an honorable thing to do, and that he had also done. There were 4 things that were discussed.
That
would be the markings of a leader. That he would demonstrate that he had earned, or that he could demonstrate that he had earned.
That he could demonstrate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is thought today that long ago,
E koto ai sino. E awaia.
Where is that type of person do we have today?
Maka. Namoy sa gayas. O
It was not
hatimona
that
kata
long ago.
siktama.
These stories of which I speak.
Kaya pitspia ganong may ispitagi. Tegi ispitita ko magisewat sa win.
For it still has the same value and thought of with the same degree, this kindness and compassion.
So ke tamoin sipe tamoin.
Courage and memory.
Mamahtawan.
It is sacred
Pits.
that these things still
Eni kaon kapawihi chiko kitai sinim no.
are the first principles for our people.
Eko niko ke mawak.
These are the leaders.
Ogwe moni awak.
Many times these white people
We are sewe awak. Namoye ogoge mauk ni taiti kunawak.
lawyers, governance people will often say to us that is not leadership.
O sam. Namoy ni na ne o se sito sko aya ke taho ma ki kaut net ki ka gispinata.
For we did not support that person who was chosen and earned that place.
Pito sa iskuya
Their system is different. Who is the most popular?
Taneke, heuko kaki o ke mawet.
And why? Those ones should be chief.
Namaki kwai. Tanse mago tatsoin. Tanso
Nothing about
tanso kagi semoin.
their behavior, their ceremonies, their prayers.
again.
Their thoughts or their intellect.
Yeah.
Egi no tanso waskau yu negi siwa pahte hata isino.
And how did they demonstrate their lives?
To the people, you'd say?
And how did they demonstrate in their lives? To the people, yeah. These used to be valuable. Today, not so much.
Pugao yak. Mi cheta isino eka kwe wana hat negai toan kika taka keimkot.
And today there are many people who try to fool people into liking them. or thinking favorably of them. To be on good terms with them. This is the kind of people today. Who can become chief or someone who has a great many relatives.
Ah, that makes sense.
There is no mention of courage. Compassion, faith, or respect for our kind and loving Creator. To be following these ceremonies. Today, things are different as they occur. We who were Cree were impoverished. These are the things that we have had taken away from our control, taken out of our hands. These things which helped us to make our souls and spirits powerful and strong. That gave us strength. But today, things occur in a very different way. Sometimes when I think, I regret. And I sometimes think if and possibly would I be able to sit in the presence of these ancient, courageous, and powerfully spiritual ones. But I am pitiful. But still I continue to strive. To earn for myself positive things. It is not for myself when I reflect on these things that I think of, but for my young ones.
Nussimak ni tansku tapanak.
My grandchildren,
Tahtawi.
my descendants, someday.
Pimo nanihtau kitao pimo pikihihtao.
When they are born and when they are being raised.
Hekta kispinuikats tasihtami kuniwihuin.
And then, if there should ever be any discussions of my name,
Kikapm kakihchehta kik. Namoy
they-
kikapm na nepiusito ta kikeukawa.
that they speak proudly and not be ashamed of this one.
Eukawa nemo sompan kikaituetsik.
This was my ancestor when they say,
Magami onohte keisi. Kikapmoichihkotsik.
but to be assisted in a powerful, positive way by these things.
On stuhta monua. Mahtenis tekta
Through
nikapm.
understanding. May I also be included.
Nikapmamte manoma. Kaya semeska na ogagipm. Tauna magusia kita.
As I travel this ancient trail that we have been allowed to set foot upon.
Kisape wenehte keisi. Kisini wenehte keisoma. Kikapm tatagohtia.
To become whole persons and complete humans when we arrive at our destination.
Maga hiuksipta mauiogo. Nikapm
For the moment. We will leave this for now and perhaps we will speak of it again.
Mistä hikiskisuin on muuta.
There is a great deal of memory here, and it is powerful.
So kan mito ni mama muuse hono ma yksisigi ikapm tasihtama.
It is so powerful that when I speak of these things, I feel the sensations as I speak of the power of these things. It was so greatly respected, this truth.
Nestohtamoin.
Understanding,
Sipehtamoin.
faith,
Ei kuhtapua kehtamoin oma.
and believing.
Uja seuraavana maamohtauin mauita kaagipm kikpaktin kojahkoma.
These ancient laws with which our kind and loving Creator placed us within.
Kikapm tsahama.
For us to follow.
Eikö ne ainakin mun sompan kaagito etsikuma meskano.
These are the things that our ancestors used to speak of, this trail.
Kispen kivimettemaan.
If you are going to
Stuhtamok.
travel upon it, understand this.
Eso ka meskano. Wa
It is a
heo te ni
powerful
gan ki
road,
ka mai to taihun.
and it will take you far into the future.
Wa heo ki ka tago taihun.
He will travel a great distance.
Mina wa heo ki ka pntau na mo awak. Kita isini makitaan skotapa na kiwa kumakanak.
And you will clear a great pathway for your people, your descendants, and your relations.
Kika ita pahta kiko mauista wao. Ma tiki
They
pe
too may
saha
see.
kiko mameskana.
Play that one back.
Kika ita pahta kiko mauista wao. Ma tiki pe saha kiko mameskana.
To look back and to see whether they have been traveling this path.
Ekta sohke suin kika mau namai.
And it is there from which we will derive our strength.
Kika mau namat ka kio isino.
That will benefit all humanity.
Kusepetama.
That is it for now.
That's it for now. I was just trying to get to the very end of that. I was like, we're so close to the end of this story. That's
this part anyway.
For this part anyway, yeah. Just
these stories branch off in many directions.
Just powerful. I was just I was in it at the right at the end there. I was like, oh man, stories got me in my feelings. Holy cow.
Yeah. You know, listening to tales of power cannot help but be a very visceral experience that you will feel physically.
Yeah.
And it will open doorways to emotions, which will trigger memories, which will help you to come to the boundaries of your own personal memories. And if you are able to process all of those ones and then are prepared to move beyond, then you step into the level of ancestral memory, where you have the opportunity to deal with ancestral traumas and memories 7 generations back into the past. And if you have dealt with your own and you open doorway for the ancestral traumas, what you do is you are healing your line 7 generations back and also clearing the pathway for 7 generations ahead so that they do not have to deal with any of these things which we have carried. We are the ones who break that chain.
Wow.
We are the ones in this time, in this moment, in this place that put an end to that so that we can begin to have our societies, our people, our families, our environment all reborn in new and healthy and powerful ways, because we've seen through the veil of deception and lies that the mainstream people have strung up before us, trying to convince us this is our reality, and from that we felt nothing but distracted and delayed and destroyed internally. There is no power in an artificial created system, but we still have our connections to the original system, and those we never let go of. We looked at this new system and it did nothing for us, and it held nothing for us. So we continue using what it was we stepped into this timeline with.
Wow. Yeah, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
So there's no power in ChatGPT. That's what he said.
Oh, it's not power. It's just how is it used.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the technology we have today, much of which is unknown to the mainstream public, has been very controlled, and the uses to which it's been put to have been incredibly destructive, like weapons of war and things like that.
Yeah.
If we had put the focus on healing and health care, and imagine the changes this technology could have had on entire communities and on entire societies. And if we can heal ourselves, our families, our communities, our environments, then we begin to make ourselves worthy of stepping back into the greater system of things and reconnecting to those original sources of power that we became disconnected from when we got distracted and we became filled with lies that we could not see beyond and therefore could not remember our way back to our power.
Hmm.
Yes.
Wow.
And it was the medicine people
Yeah.
who kept that doorway open. Hard work,
Yeah.
but we did it. Itagufta now.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So if you want to comment on that, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I was just we're close to the end of the evening, and I think that was a powerful finish for this story. We've got so many nice comments, gratitude in the chat. Even Brandon Lemire has blessed us with his presence this evening. I got to meet Brandon. He's from Rocky Boy. Came up for the conference a week ago, and we got to hang out for a few days there. So at the end of the story, Arden says, "Just wow." Nikki says, "I feel blessed." Arden, again, a powerful, beautiful, powerful closing. So pretty amazing way to wrap up that story tonight. We're going to be back next week. We'll wrap it up there for now tonight. And Simon, Wes, we're just so grateful to have you with us. And what a blessing to be able to sit and work through some of these. We just finished in our Monday night group. We just finished working on that story. I've named it Gitsa Tsamona, but it's the story of the lady in the lake, and so I think we'll pick that one up next week.
Ah, my God.
Because there's going to be some good...
You know,
yeah.
I want to go and visit that lady. I know where that... I mean, I was just actually talking to Jasper and saying, see if you can find this woman's phone number and ask her if we can use her cabin for a while, because I want to go and make an offering to that lady in the lake.
Ah.
Because that's when I first did that. She said, she told me this long story about how in the past your people used to come here annually and camp by the water and live on the fish, and they would spend the summer and autumn often camping around here beside the lake. And they would bring me tobacco, and they would bring me food, and they would bring me we pinaso na her shields.
Yeah.
And, when I went and did that, she came and she thanked me, and she said, it's been some time since your ancestors used to come and do this every year. This is what you are doing. She said it was an annual event, and I want to thank you, my grandchild, she said to me, for coming and singing my doorway open so that I could come and interact with you. And while I'm here, because of your offering, I will look after the people in this place that you are doing this ceremony in. And I will look after the children when they come and play near the water. These were the agreements that we had in the old days with your people. Spiritual blessings.
Yeah. Wow.
And guidance and protection. And that's why these sacred places are so important, and that's why those sacred shields that they use as doorways are so important to begin to reuse in order to develop an environmental change that is spiritually driven, you see.
Yeah.
Rather than just an intellectual exercise, where we will continue to think that our technology has to be improved or its use is more focused, and that's how we're going to save ourselves. That's how we're going to change our environment outside of ourselves. Our environmental change begins with internal change. It begins one person at a time, one voice at a time, one story at a time, one song at a time. Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
Miasin.
Tapwe miasin. We're going to leave the stream there. Thank you, everybody who tuned in tonight. We'll catch you again next week. We'll pick up with a brand new story. And if you're a language learner and you want to get in on transcribing some of these stories, feel free to reach out to me on TikTok or Facebook, and we'll get you connected with our Monday night group. So we'll leave the stream there tonight. Mio tipskansik kakyo. And we'll catch you on the next one next week, Sunday night. Okay, muest